Here we start in happy baby. Reach up, grab your toes, your feet, your ankles, your calves, wherever your range of motion allows you to get to today. Initiate that diaphragm breath as you inhale and exhale. Notice how good this feels, how you can feel that pelvic floor relax, a nice stretch through those hamstrings and glutes. Continue to breathe here. We transition into dead bug. Here we start with just moving one arm at a time. Inhale, expand, exhale, and lower your arm to the floor. Transitioning here to just moving one leg at a time, tapping that heel to the ground. Finding that stability breath to stabilize your core. Watch for coning or doming. Slow, controlled movements. As you transition here to moving opposite arm and opposite leg together, stabilizing your core through this movement. Wherever you're at today is where you find yourself here. You want to roll onto your side, push up into a seated position, scoot back, find your position here at 90-90, one leg in front, the other to the side. Lean onto your palm, getting into oblique sit here. Finding that diaphragm breath once again. Inhale, expand, exhale. With subtle engagement, allow your pelvic floor to return to neutral. Focus here on pressing your front knee and hand into the ground. Repeat this a few more times with those slow, controlled breaths. Switching over to the other side, we again find 90-90. Leaning into your palm, keep shoulder down away from ear, and cycle through those breaths, nice and controlled. From here, we place one leg on top of the other as we transition into side plank options. This requires our stability breath through the movement and diaphragm breath when we hold poses. Knees and ankles stacked over one another, shoulders, hips, and ankles in line. Palm directly below shoulder. Inhale, expand. Exhale, stabilize your core and drive your hips up and forward as you hold here. Cycle through those diaphragm breaths in this pose. Inhale, lower down. Exhale, drive up. Repeat this several times. Lower down, drive up. You may start to open up into clamshell here. Drive up, externally rotate, open up, lower down. Inhale as you lower those hips back down. You have the option here to add in that kickstand. Inhale, exhale, drive up, open up through, kick that foot forward, close it back down, hips back to floor. Repeat this several times. Switching over to the other side. First up, that side plank hold. Getting into position here. Inhale, expand. Exhale, drive those hips up and forward. Maintain that pressurized core here as you hold. Breathing through. Big inhale as you lower back down. Exhale, drive up. Let's rep through this a few times, driving those hips up and forward. Inhale down, exhale, stabilize and drive. You may add in that clamshell here, wherever you're at. Option to add that kickstand here. Inhale, lower, exhale, pressurize, drive up, clamshell, kick that heel forward, close it back down. Inhale as you lower those hips to the ground. Repeat this at your own pace here, wherever you're at today. Continuing in that 90-90, we flow into shin box. Arms out in front of you as if you're hugging a large ball. Inhale, expand. Exhale, let your knees fall to the other side. Majority of the motion here comes through those hips. Inhale, lower, exhale, rock to the other side, drive those hips up and forward, and repeat at your own pace here. On this next rep, we're going to hip drive into lunge. Bring it back down, rotate over, hip drive up, lunge forward. Next, we're going to drive up into standing. So hips drive up and forward, lunge, pressing into that heel as you stand straight up, knee drive up, lower back down, nice and controlled, maintaining that pressurized core. Rotate to the other side, hip drive, lunge, pressing through that heel, stand up nice and tall, knee drive. Flow through this wherever you're at today. If you need to stay at hip drive, stay at hip drive. If you can get to lunge, go there. And if you're up for the challenge, feel free to go all the way to standing. No pressure here. It's wherever you're at today. Next, just flowing side to side here. Taking a moment to just notice how this feels. Next up is tabletop. Rotate over, hands stacked under shoulders, knees stacked directly under hips, top of feet resting on the mat. Maintain that neutral spine. Finding that diaphragm breath here. Really press into hands, knees, and feet. Foundational pose here should not be overlooked. Will be the basis of the next several movements. From here, we initiate movement with our sacrum to flow into segmental cat-cow, starting with the sacrum, arching through that back one vertebrae at a time until you reach your cervical spine as you look upward. Again, initiating movement with that sacrum, start to tuck your tailbone one vertebrae at a time until you reach your cervical spine and tuck your chin last. Repeat this slow and controlled. Next pose here in our tabletop series is tripod. Starting in that tabletop position, place your right foot outside of your right hand. Breathe into this here. Feel that stretch through your right hamstring and left hip flexor. Inhale as you replace that foot back to tabletop and switch sides, left foot outside of left hand. Breathing here. Noticing all points of contact, your feet, your hands, your knee, your toes. From here, we transition into low bear, one of the more advanced core moves. Start in tabletop, curl your toes under as you inhale, exhale into your stability breath, lift knees off the ground, hold here. Inhale as you lower down and repeat. Really focus on pressing your hands and toes into the ground, maintaining a neutral spine. Repeating this at your own pace here. Next up is high bear. Walk your hands about a foot closer to your feet. Step in your feet as your hips go high. Maintain that neutral spine. Hands stacked directly below your shoulders. Find that diaphragm breath here. Continue to breathe at your own pace as you notice how good this feels. Walking those hands back, standing up nice and tall, we transition into squat. Move your feet about hip distance apart. Inhale, expand. Exhale, pressurize your core as you lower down to the bottom of your squat. Pressing through your heels as you drive back up to standing. Continue to rep through this at your own pace. Your knees may track slightly outward over your second or third toes. We're going to hold at the bottom of this next squat into a low squat hold. Drive through those heels and stand up. Standing nice and tall, turn hands out away from body as we find neck range of motion. Relax your shoulders. Tuck your chin to chest, right ear to right shoulder. Chin up as you extend neck to center. Left ear to left shoulder. Tuck your chin, roll and flex neck back to center. Switching directions here. Next, we find shoulder range of motion, palm faces up, raise your arm towards the ceiling. At the top, rotate your palm outward, continuing your range of motion, leading with your thumb. Just moving one arm here, moving within your range of motion, noticing how moving your arm away from your body results in the subtle engagement of your core. Switching sides here, you may notice how the range of motion is not the same on each side. Work within that range. Nice and controlled movements as you're just isolating one at a time. Continuing to breathe here. Last up is our hip range of motion. As we stand tall, flexing your hip, externally rotating, internally rotating as your knee falls in. Hip extension, externally rotate through that hip as you bring your hip forward, up and around, and back to neutral. Repeat this several times at your own pace here. Switching sides. We flex that hip, externally rotate, internally rotate, knee to neutral. Extend through that hip, externally rotate up and around, foot finds ground to neutral. If you need stability, feel free to place hand on a chair or counter or wall as you move through this range of motion.